Howdy howdy everybody, I've got a real quick review for a real quick game today. No Sun to Worship is a tactical stealth game released in 2023 by solo developer Antonio Freire. It plays a bit like a classic Metal Gear or Splinter Cell game and is set in a subtle and evocative sci-fi world. Gameplay centers around navigating levels stealthily and assassinating marked targets. Our movement options include a crouch, adjustable move speed via the mouse wheel, peeking around corners, and tagging enemies to monitor their location. Our main weapon is a silenced pistol for removing lights, cameras, and unarmored opponents. It's not useful against armored opponents, so we have a stealth melee kill and an automatic rifle to deal with those. Our character does not have laser-accurate aiming, which really encourages those stealth kills. We monitor our visibility and noise with the light and sound meters in the lower left corner. Frequently, we'll be shooting out lights and choosing to slow down as we approach noisier terrain types, as footstep volume is directly linked to what we're stepping on. Enemies can detect corpses, but since we're playing as some sort of biomechanical monstrosity, we can simply demolecularize and consume our enemies to prevent discovery. There's also an interesting new conceit. By pressing space, you can completely silence your character's footsteps at the cost of a health drain. It's a toggle, so you can cut it pretty close to death. I really liked this mechanic. Deciding the exact moment to lunge in for a stealth kill adds a lot of tension, and our character doesn't have much health to start with, so if they turn around a second too soon, we're Swiss cheese, and dying restarts the current level. There's no save system in levels, so you'll have to get it all in one go, but on normal each of the levels can be cleared in around 10 minutes. Levels are branching but linear, with occasional connections between the branching paths. They can be navigated in multiple ways, and every mission has the same objective of punish. I'm pretty bad at stealth games, and I completed these 6 normal difficulty missions in around an hour. The hard mode gave me a lot more trouble. All enemies become armored and more alert, seem to pursue further, and now kill in around 2 shots. The second mission on hard took me a full hour on its own. My winning strategy was stealth killing every single enemy on each map. I think I'm just too bloodthirsty for stealth games, or impatient. Visually, it looks a bit like an incredibly ambitious Morrowind mod, but with modernized lighting. I find the stylized pixelation and chunky texture combination very appealing. I'd say it looks the way I remember PlayStation 1 games, not the way PS1 games actually looked. Sound is very important to this game, and you can usually hear how crunchy your footsteps are with one major weak spot. When using the silent step ability, your footsteps will still play at full volume. It's a bit disorienting when your sneaky sprint still sounds like a freight train. Other than that, the ambient music is a bit stressful, which contributes to the tension. And I particularly liked the combat theme. The short runtime ensures that the music never gets old, and the voiceovers at the start and the end of the game are particularly well done. Spoiler warning here as I try to dig all the way through the story. The Steam page for the game reads a bit like a community theater mission statement. It's a game about the importance of art. A lot of players seem to be writing this all off as pretentious bullshit, which is one meaning to interpret. Everyone comes to their own conclusions based on their own willingness to examine. I don't think anything would be lost by just ignoring the story and taking it as a fun little stealth game, but to me every game from a solo developer is like a short story. They intended something from it, and I'd like to understand that intention, even if they were just out to make a quick buck. There are a lot of very enigmatic components of this game, and I can't quite get them cohesive. Here's the known bits the game tells at the start.
We painted the sky ashen grey, burned the heavens to starve each other. What broke in man that we decided to kill ourselves so we could punish our equals? But then there's you. You can do what is right. That is why you are.
After which a spaceship appeared to judge humanity. From there, we witness this text chain, which appears to be a conversation between the newly sentient player character and some other intelligence. My best guess, based on the tone, is that you're conferring with whatever is aboard the spaceships. They claim that their experiment failed and all must be swept away and remade. But the player character argues that it is a worthy successor to humanity, that the world should be delivered to its hand. The other being asks it, rather obliquely, to prove its worth. From there, we enter the 6 levels. Our objective is to punish. And it's odd. All of the targets we kill are already neatly bound and bagged, ready to be killed, in areas patrolled by seemingly human guards. Our arenas seem to tell a story of their own. A communication hub, a hidden underground lab, a jail, a nuclear reactor, a biomech factory full of our doppelgangers. And finally, some sort of military checkpoint at the border of a wasteland, the last stop before the massive hovering spaceship. All are hardened locations, seemingly military or scientific, and it seems we may be sweeping through the facilities involved in our own creation. After successfully eliminating all of the targets, the player character again confers with the intelligence, who tells us that we have destroyed meaning, that life is nothing without meaning. We must start again. My best guess is that this game is sort of a twist of Arthur C. Clarke's Childhood's End, wherein mankind produces its successor evolution and regular humans are left behind to die. But in No Sun to Worship, the successor is inferior to mankind. The biomech cannot interpret the meaning of what it sees. It does not greatly differentiate between armed combatants and what are clearly hostages. It exists only because mankind willed it to exist. It acts only as a weapon would act, and thus creates no meaning of its own. We failed the task by incorrectly interpreting how to prove our worth. We were never strictly told to kill anyone, but how else would a weapon prove its worth than by killing its own creator? That's my theory, anyways. Or, broadly, the importance of art is just a mission statement. Tactical stealth games are pretty rare nowadays, even though they used to be everywhere. Maybe the point of the game is to remind us of the importance of preserving and evolving these game types that have fallen out of commercial fashion. But I imagine anyone who sincerely engages with the game will come to a different conclusion as to the meaning. And since it is a relatively quick and inexpensive game, I encourage you to take a chance on it. Well, to wrap up, No Sun to Worship is an enigmatic little stealth gem that is well worth the price of admission. It's a lovely single evening game that sticks in the head like a half-heard song. The hard mode is basically an entirely different, more stressful experience, but I had a lot of anxious fun with it as well. On the pain scale, it's just a little painful. I'd recommend it to anyone who, like me, is interested in stealth games but not exceptionally good at them, and doesn't want to commit to a multi-day playthrough of a longer title. It's a game that kept me entertained, and I really prefer a short game that provides a consistently enjoyable experience than a long game with a lot of dead air. Anyways, that's my 10th review. Thanks for tuning in. See ya!